Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you all are here. It was a beautiful day. I was in the Cotswolds and driving towards Snowshill Manor. In this vlog, we will explore all the lavish showrooms and garden. Snowshill Manor is a National Trust property located in the village of Snowshill in the Cotswolds, Gloucestershire. It is a 16th century country house, best known for its 20th century owner Charles Wade, an eccentric who amassed an enormous collection of objects that interested him. Charles Wade was multi-talented, an architect, artist, craftsman, poet, and I would say most importantly of all, an avid collector. The purpose of the manor house was to house his eclectic collection while he lived in the adjacent cottage. When his father died in 1911, Charles inherited a share of the sugar business. This meant he had enough income to support architectural practice and devote himself to artistic pursuits and building his collection. I must say that it is a fantastic property that will keep everyone entertained as it has loads of objects to see and explore. The manor showcases his lifetime collection of items that brought him joy and showed a past of crafting through all the objects he brought. It's a unique National Trust property which is more like a museum meets an antique store set within a manor house rather than being a traditionally decorated house. The house was bought and set up to display Charles Wade's 10,000 collectibles purchased in the first half of 1900s, including collectible cabinets, outfits, spinning wheels, old bicycles, ship models, and much more. Such a fascinating experience to see all these precious and quirky objects. So Charles had a precise vision for the layout of his objects. He carefully curated each room so that the objects could best be admired. He used low lighting and no labels to create an atmosphere where visitors can appreciate the rooms as a whole, in which the objects blend harmoniously. Charles utilized every available space in the manor, frequently rearranging objects to accommodate new purchases. Even the attic spaces were filled with extraordinary treasures. Charles Wade collected objects that were well designed, colorful, and skillfully crafted. He cared about handmade objects and wanted to build a collection that preserved examples of skill for future generations to study. Such a delightful experience to wander around here. While serving in France during the First World War, Charles saw an advert for the sale of Snowshill Manor in Country Life magazine. When he left the army in 1919, he was able to purchase Snowshill Manor to house his collection. Charles wrote, "The aim of my collection is to create an interesting decorative effect, not a museum collection of objects." Charles married his wife, Mary. In 1946, they lived together in the cottage opposite the manor. Charles and Mary divided their time between Snowshill and St. Kitts before Charles' death in 1956. Charles Wade had both the time and money to develop his collection and buy a manor house as he inherited family land and businesses on the Caribbean island of St. Kitts in 1911. The Wade family were of mixed racial heritage. Charles' white grandfather married a black, free-born woman. They had 7 children together, one of whom was Charles' father. Such a beautiful cabinet. Charles Wade bought Snowshill Manor in 1919 and set about renovating it. His vision was to use the manor house as a magnificent stage set for his growing collection. Charles lived in a small cottage next door, a simple home and workshop. Let's visit his cottage now. The cottage, also known as the brew house or priest's house, provides a delightful insight into how Charles Wade lived. For Charles, the cottage was an intimate personal space as opposed to the manor, which was always intended to be a home for his collection. The items on display are still beautiful handcrafted objects, but they are more functional in nature. Charles kept a fire burning in the kitchen throughout the year. It is here that Charles would sit in his favorite chair, perhaps reading or in later years listening to the radio. As a modern invention, the radio was only accepted by Wade after the outbreak of the Second World War, so that he could listen to the evening news or to his favorite radio show, Much Binding in the Marsh. Now you're looking at his costume collection. Charles Wade loved to share his collection with visitors and friends. A visit to Snowshill Manor would have been a theatrical experience. Wearing one of his many costumes, Charles would surprise visitors by appearing from secret passageways. He also enjoyed putting on plays in his room with friends. Let's wander around in the garden now. The garden at Snowshill was designed by Wade and his friend and prominent arts and crafts architect Mackay Hugh Scott, and the manor is surrounded by an intriguing terraced hillside garden designed in the arts and crafts style. Such a joy to walk around here along with beautiful countryside views. There is plenty for the whole family to enjoy at Snowshill Manor and Garden, from seasonal trails, activities to the Garden Explorer, notebooks and Wolf's Cove Model Village. Wolf's Cove is a model harbour based on a typical Cornish fishing village. Charles Wade designed and built the miniature scene to delight anyone who came to visit. That looks so stunning and peaceful. Dear viewers, if you like this type of content, please consider to subscribe my channel. Thank you. Time spent in the garden at Snowshill. is time away from the bustle of everyday life, an opportunity to explore a unique and intimate garden with quiet corners and far-reaching views. So I was just wandering in the garden, taking in all the beautiful views, enjoying the flowers, serenity of nature. I must say the garden offers a peaceful space for quiet reflection. You just need to take some time for yourself, rest for a while, or enjoy some snacks. After my delightful walk in the garden, I headed towards cafe. The cafe is the perfect place to unwind as you relax on the terrace and take in the far-reaching views across the valley. The indoor seating is also available here. Or you can just grab a cup of coffee along with these yummy cakes. That's the National Trust shop. Whether you want to treat yourself or a loved one, you are sure to find something in the shop. It stocks everything from gifts to homeware, books to local produce, gardening gear to plants. These countryside views are so fascinating. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. For more beautiful content, please consider to subscribe and like my channel. Thank you. See you in the next one. Take lots of care. Bye.